Karl with a K. Go ahead, Karl.
Hey, how you doing? Actually, let me ask this Mike guy one question. It was pretty good that he said. He said there was a house that went from 390 and then a house the bank turned around and sold for 360.
That's correct.
And you think that was a bad thing or a good thing the bank did? Well, I remember what it said.
If I recall, like back in the 80s and when we went through that, the whole...
Karl, you're breathing on the mic, man.
If a house got foreclosed on and it was, let's just say, 150, the bank would sit on it before reducing the price. But
let me just jump in real quick. That was a fantastic thing that the bank does. If I was the bank and I bought the house at 390, I would sell it for 100. Why?
Well, it's not their money.
Because you said it earlier. Everybody said it earlier. Even Karl said it. Because they're going to take that $100,000 note and they're going to fractionally reserve that thing and make $1 billion out of that $100,000 note. So if I was the bank, I'd be running around like crazy buying houses for $500,000 and selling them for $50,000, $100,000, because I'm going to take that note and I'm going to make $1 billion off that note, right? There you go.
I'm assuming yes, but
yeah. So that's one thing I want to get, and then everything is negotiable. All instruments are negotiable, and that's all I talk about on the show is how to renegotiate any kind of mortgage, any kind of loan, any kind of debt, and it works like a champ. So that everything's negotiable. So like I said, and then when they say it's illegal and unlawful to separate the note from the mortgage, okay, so it's illegal. But if you and I were running the banks, if you and I had some sort of scheme going, that people were coming in for giving us notes and we had to attach it to the mortgage, and we said, you know what, the hell with it, let's separate the note from the mortgage. Let's make $1 billion.
Better yet, let's make an Excel spreadsheet and keep it there instead of putting all the paperwork.
There you go. That's why they're doing this. So if they finally get busted, so what? You're one guy out of a million who caught them for a $500,000 house, and you're still going crazy to try to get it free and clear. So they're saying, it's worth the gamble.
Like John Stewart says, the courts, it's an automatic presumption that the banks are right, and until you rebut that presumption, they're going to get away with murder.
That's correct.
Yeah. But like I said, too, and when that Karl, Mr. Constitution said, like saying, to get any kind of revenge on these bankers is like, look, everybody know what they did during farm aid to the farmers back in the 70s. Everybody knows the bankers are evil. Nobody went to the bank and thought they were going to see the Pope or a nun or a doctor. They knew they were going to deal with a banker, and they know he was slick, and they know he probably had some sort of agenda to try to get you out of you away from your money somehow. So like I said, when the other man said 100,000 or thousands of people marched on Washington because they were up on their payments, but they were still foreclosed on, that's called acceleration of the debt. That's what you started talking about earlier in the show when you said, hey, just because they saw me file a paperwork for assistance or aid for modification of my mortgage, all of a sudden the credit card companies accelerated or declined or reduced my credit rating. That's exactly what happened to the farmers. All that would happen is they were loaning out millions of dollars to these farmers on January 1st. So they didn't have to pay until the crops came in the fall. But what happened is the bankers were smart. They would say, oh, well, we just got the National Geological Forecast said there's no rain for Kansas, so we're going to accelerate all the mortgages on all you Kansas farmers. Even though you're all up to date with your payments, we're still going to call in our note. And we're going to make you demand every single dime that we lent you. Wow. So that's why when those people marched on Washington, they didn't understand the concept of acceleration of debt that you mentioned a little bit by saying, well, when the bank sees or the credit card company sees that you lost your job or you're late on a phone bill or that you filed assistance for welfare food stamps, all of a sudden they foreclosed on you. What they did is they accelerated the debt. They didn't foreclose on you, they accelerated the debt. And you've got 24 hours to find another source of finance. So that was just a couple of things I wanted to hit real quick that, like I said, like the other man was saying something about a diamond. It's just like if I had a diamond and you bought it from me and you were happy you had a diamond and you gave me a note, just an IOU note. And I took that note and I gave it to the principal, De Beers. I was just his broker. I'm just a bank. I'm just the broker. I gave it to De Beers. De Beers took that note and somehow figured out how to monetize it to worth $1 billion. And you come back and say, hey, wait, I just got this crummy diamond ring. You got $1 billion for my note. Why are we upset with what they do with the note. Why didn't you take that diamond and break it into a billion pieces and sell it for $1 billion? Because to me, once you give something away to somebody else, your name, your good word, your note, you give it to somebody else, you got something of value. You had a diamond. Now, what they do with your note, what business of yours? Because who are they going to come by and say, wow, you just gave us this crummy piece of paper saying I owe you for a $1,000 diamond. The diamond market just skyrocketed because all diamonds on the earth burst into flames. You got the only diamond left. It's worth $1 billion now. How about giving us some back of that diamond? And you say, no. You know, what I got, I made a great investment. And see, I look at it from both sides of the fence. That they got something, your note. You got a diamond. So who are you to tell them what to do with your note once you get it?
Right, that's like if you sold somebody a car. Once they have the car, you can't tell them when to wash it or when to have it painted a different color.
But say you sold them
break it down.
But say you sold them your car, Angela. You're the lien holder, right? Because the debt hasn't been paid off. So you sold them a $10,000 sports car. You said, pay me $100 a month for the next, whatever, 100 months for that. And I said, okay, we'll do that. You see this lady, or this kid, tear out the driveway wide open with this brand new, this $10,000 sports car. You say, whoa, I'm gonna accelerate the debt. But the way you drive, kid, I want all the money and I want it now, or you got to find another source of financing because I want my money and I want my money now because I saw the way you tore out of this driveway. So that's why you write a rider clause in the mortgage or the rider clause when you're selling, transfer the car to somebody else. That if I catch you acting reckless, I'm going to accelerate the debt, or you're going to put the money in escrow, or you're going to put up a bond, or I'm just going to come and seize the car if I want to accelerate it at will. So that's all acceleration of a debt means. That if you feel that somebody's going to harm what you believe you have a vested interest in, they could come in immediately and seize that property because they believe that
they have that acceleration clause in there.
Yeah.
Right. So I just wanted to, knock out some of those couple of things that I think people might have been, a lot of anger is brought up, believe me, in these kind of, we hate the bank phone calls. So I just try to put it in balance to try to show you guys, well, this is the method to their madness. And I would do the same thing, too, because they're making a ton of money. When they finally get caught, they're like, so what? We made billions. That's why that's their mentality. You weren't dealing with the Pope. You knew you weren't going to meet a priest. You knew you were going into a bank to deal with a banker, and you knew what bankers are all about. And they got some sort of loophole, and even if you play everything by the book, they got some way to accelerate this thing, and you better, be prepared for it. Get tricksters, and you know it, and everybody knows it. And
all right.
Yeah. All right, Angie.
Thank you, my dear.